how do I review an album that I consider to be basically perfect? It's kind of hard to know where to start with this, honestly, and I've already talked about this album extensively in multiple ways and times, you know, going into this, and all I really have to say at the end of the day is just, if there's anything you can take away, just go listen to this record for yourself. And honestly, I would say, I don't even really want to spoil it. Like, if you haven't heard this album, just go listen to it right now. Just stop video, and go listen to it right now. That is all I can really say to you guys, because this album is incredible, and it deserves a relatively blind listen, I think, to really appreciate it. But it is a fantastic record. Please, just go check it out if you've never listened to this record before. It is extremely deserving, and, without further ado, I'm going to get into the main review now, so if you don't want to get spoiled and you want to go listen to that record, go do it right now. Other than that, we are going to get started here. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be reviewing Oasis' second album, What's the Story, Morning Glory, and this is one of my favorite albums of all time. I kind of go back and forth between this and the Beatles' Sgt. Pepper's as my second favorite album of all time. Dark Side of the Moon is my favorite album of all time, but you know, this is just an album that has meant so much to me. It's kind of hard to even review it in a, like, analytical setting, just because of how much I love this album, obviously, and I think everyone knows, how much I love this album. I've talked about this multiple times. I made a video not too long ago about my favorite albums, and I, you know, went into this pretty extensively here. I actually own this twice, physically. This is the old original CD that I got used, very cheap, and then this is the 3-disc edition, remastered edition, which has the, main album, and then it has some B-sides and, unreleased tracks, and then it has lives and demos on the third album, and third disc here. Like I said, this is the only Oasis album that I own 2 copies of, just because it's incredible. My original CD, it does skip, because I got a lot of these used. You see the disc spindle was broken as well. I don't actually have my discs in the cases. I don't keep my discs in my cases, but anyway, the fact that I own this twice, and if I ever get a record player, this will probably be one of the first vinyls I will get as well. So, like, I am absolutely very much obsessed with this record. I think, that kind of goes without saying. So, going just, like, real quick into the background, I talked about this in the last, video where I reviewed Definitely Maybe, but I highly suggest you watch that video first. But anyway, I kind of went into how I got into Oasis, and I was watching a YouTube video, and I was seeing them get mentioned, and I basically looked up a YouTube playlist, and I was just blown away. I saw a bunch of, their songs, their music videos, and I was just absolutely blown away. Now, keep in mind, I'm a huge Beatles fan. I was a really big Beatles fan at that time. Was coming out of one of my biggest Beatles phases, and I saw, you know, Don't Look Back in Anger is one of the first songs I saw from this album, besides, obviously, Wonderwall. I had heard Wonderwall before, but Don't Look Back in Anger, just seeing the influences from John Lennon was something that got me really excited, and was just a really interesting experience for me. I don't remember if I watched Champagne Supernova or not. I feel like I did. That song probably took longer to really click, and I'll get to it for sure. But overall, this album, I decided to just give it a listen, like a relatively blind listen. This was the first Oasis album I listened to, and I don't usually do that with bands where I, like, turn off all distractions and just give an album a blind listen completely, like, just on its own, and I did. And this thing, was just incredible. And I basically gave it a blind listen, and I never went back. I was just like, this is insane. What was I missing my entire life? Like, I know that's extremely dramatic, but, just kind of giving the, like, personal kind of anecdote out of the way. Let's get on to the actual record. So this was their, second studio album. Was released in 1995. For those who don't know, Oasis are a band based in Manchester, England, and they released this album right after, you know, coming hot on the heels of the success of Definitely Maybe. Of course, Noel Gallagher was just on fire, just pumping out song after song. There's even more good songs in this era with the B-sides. He was just, like, pumping them out, and was on an insanely, you know, creative inspiration. I believe they went to that weird place in England, like, countryside, where they recorded, you know, where Bohemian Rhapsody was recorded. I believe they went to that house, and, there's a lot of stories, like, not everything went super well. I mean, there were a lot of, like, violent arguments and things. I watched a documentary, you know, but at the end of the day, we got this record, and, it is just absolutely insane. And I also saw a quote, from Noel Gallagher, where he basically said, that, they made, this album kind of, in that way. So, thinking about the, like, more negative sides, I guess. I have the exact quote here, where he said, "It's a cynical song about drugs. Morning Glory is an album about what it's like to be in a group, which 6 days out of 7 is a laugh, but half the songs on this album were written on the 7th day." And that is an extremely well summed up way of describing this album. Basically just kind of, you know, you just, like, burned out and then get into a big argument, you hate everything, and you go in your room and write a bunch of songs, and, like, almost like the emo kid is just like, "Mom's making me do homework!" I'm sorry. But I totally picture Noel Gallagher as that kid, because, like, he also dropped out of school, I believe. Liam was kicked out. I don't know what he got kicked out for. But that's not relevant to the review, so let's just continue. So, basically, we had, you know, the same lineup as before with, Bonehead and Giggsy. The last, so they released Some May Say, and then, they, kicked, their drummer out of the group, which was something that this is not the last time that this will happen. So Tony McCarroll, who was their drummer, they were like, "Nah, we don't want you into the group." Apparently there was a clash of personalities. Like I said, the Gallaghers are not easy people to work with, understandably, and, he, you know, was not too happy about getting kicked out of the group. Apparently Noel Gallagher had this, like, big, broad vision in mind, kind of, for the album, and was like, he won't sound right on the new songs. And, you know, as much as I did like his drumming on the first album, they brought in Alan White for, you know, the rest of this album, and it's absolutely iconic. I mean, these songs are iconic. This is one of the only albums I've ever heard where I feel like basically every song, with the exception of really one, could be a single. And that's just how it is. It's like, every song on this record could be a single. Like, the only other album I can think of like this with this many singles and single potential songs is Rumors by Fleetwood Mac. Like, that is literally the only other one I can think of. Like, it's absolutely insane how many of these songs are just instant, like, classic hooks, classic singles, just instantly recognizable hooks. Obviously, everybody knows Wonderwall. That's not, you know, not even a question. And a lot of people also know Don't Look Back in Anger. You know, and So Sally Can Wait. It's just such an iconic hook right there. This album has some of the best choruses. Noel was absolutely on the top of his game when he was writing choruses, writing hooks for this album, and just writing the lyrics in general. These are also some of the best lyrics on any of his work, and some of the best lyrics he's ever written. I don't think I really need to, you know, try to justify that opinion. I will take a deeper dive into both of their solo stuff, but I don't really think anything's going to top this for me. Like, this is just incredible. And I'm actually going to listen to the whole, that compilation, the Noel Gallagher compilation, because I have a very long bus ride coming up. So, it's a 2.5 hour compilation of his solo work, but I digress. Getting, back to this record, And that's kind of the background. Some might say it was the first single off of this album. It went to #1. That's another song that just, like, a lot of people really remember. I'm sure, especially in the UK, it's a song that's still very, like, enduring. And over in the US, I wouldn't say the general public knows it, but people who are, like, into music and stuff, definitely this is another hook that people will get in their heads. Just that opening riff, dude. Oh, my God. So iconic. Just a song that is just really fantastic. This album did very well in the UK. It topped the album charts, I think, for 1 week in 95, and then it ended up coming back in 96 and was very successful in 1996 on the UK album charts. It's actually crazy how a lot of songs were, like, big on MTV at the time, or kind of in the US, and how people definitely knew who they were, but in terms of, like, Hot 100 success, it wasn't as much. And the interesting thing about that is, because back in the day, it was a lot harder to measure the success of things. Just for the enduring success of this record, I believe that Wonderwall is the most streamed 90s song in the UK on Spotify, and is still one of the most streamed 90s songs, like, overall on Spotify. I believe, Smells Like Teen Spirit, Wonderwall, and Now All I Want for Christmas Is You are the only 3 90s songs on Spotify that have over 1 billion streams. So, you've got the elite club with Kurt Cobain and Mariah Carey. I mean, you've succeeded in being one of the most iconic acts of the decade if you're in there with Kurt Cobain and Mariah Carey, in my opinion. Like, I think we all know that Wonderwall is just this enduring song, and whether you love it or hate it, you will never escape it. I mean, personally, I love it, of course. I mean, I wouldn't be calling this album near perfect if I hated the song. I do kind of want to do a deeper dive type of video essay into this topic in the future. Kind of how this album tackles fame, but I do think Noel Gallagher had this very, like, interesting kind of vision going into this writing, and I don't even think all of it was really, like, necessarily conscious decision. I think he was just kind of thinking about this in the back of his mind and just writing all these songs. And the way they're structured, there is, like, this recurring theme of dealing with fame, and, you know, after definitely maybe made him so successful overnight. And he, like the Beatles and like a lot of bands, you know, he came from, like, a poor background, and, you know, was just kind of just writing songs, and then was suddenly just like, how are we, like, oh shit, I'm famous now. How the fuck do I cope with the fact that I'm famous now? And it's honestly crazy when you think about it, because he just went into this and was just completely, you know, just wrote these songs, and it's absolutely incredible that he was able to write all of these songs that have somewhat cohesive theming, except for She's Electric. That's just a silly love song. It literally has no cohesive theming for the rest of the album, but I don't even care, because it's great. It's a fantastic song. I'll talk about it right now, because it's a really great song. It's very Beatlesque, especially the harmonies at the end. I love that. The lyrics are very fun and campy. Kind of got that cleverness from songs like Married with Children and even Supersonic. Off of Definitely Maybe, kind of taking that cleverness in the writing and taking it back into the song. The album opens up with Hello, which is one of my favorite songs lyrically on the album. It's a song which deals with fame and deals with the passing of time, and it's kind of got this thing where he's like, it's never gonna be the same. The years are falling by like rain. I just see this, like, intense passing of time, and it's just like sinking. And then it's never gonna be the same till the life I used to know comes by and says hello. You kind of see that, and it's like, oh shit. He's thinking like, wow, what if suddenly I'm not famous anymore? What if suddenly, like, you know, like my old troubles come back to haunt me, or kind of thing. And that's actually a really interesting, you know, sentiment here. I love the way the song's written. It goes straight into Roll With It, which is another song that a lot of people know off this record. If anyone followed music, you know, in the 90s, whatever, there's the whole chart battle between them and another band who I won't talk about because of some of the allegations are making me want to die. Anyways, you know, this song was iconic for that reason. It's the weakest song on the album by default, but still extremely catchy, hooky song. It's got some good lyrical moments. It's another 3-chord song like Columbia. It's not as good as Columbia in my opinion, but it is still a really great song that just is absolutely fantastic. It's super catchy. Wonderwall comes right after that, and I love, you know, you get these, like, two kind of upbeat rock songs, and then you go straight into this ballad. I like the transitions on this album, too, are really great. Like, I talked about the transitions on the White Album being really great in my White Album video, how Hello actually starts off with the, like, strumming of Wonderwall and then goes into, like, this hard rock song. And then, you get the thing between, like, Roll With It and Wonderwall, there's, like, a cough or, like, clearing the throat, and that's how the song is. And it just, like, these little transitions just make it feel that much more raw, and, the fact that they left that kind of thing in. Wonderwall, I don't really need to talk about it. I mean, there's elements to fame there. You could talk about that. I do think it's a love song. Something that I want to work into my fame theory when I make a video about that. But the love song aspect of it, I don't want to be dramatic and be like it's one of the greatest love songs ever written, but yeah, it is. And you're allowed to vehemently disagree with me, but I think it's insanely romantic, even though the whole song is about how he can't express his feelings to this person. And it's like, there's many things I'd like to say to you, but I don't know how, and then you're gonna be the one that says to me, like, you're my Wonderwall, like, that's all you can come up with? And, like, what the fuck is a Wonderwall? What are you even saying? But it's delivered in such a way that's romantic, and that's where Liam comes in here and just absolutely sells this with his, like, weird vocals, but it works. You got the cello and just some, like, really, like, melancholic kind of denser production elements, which just really add to the, like, emotion of the song. The piano at the end is incredible. Just such a nice touch to an already fantastic song. And specifically with these two songs, with this and Don't Look Back in Anger, I believe Liam was given a choice. Noel said, oh, I'm going to sing one of them, but you're going to sing one, and you can pick which one. And I believe he picked Wonderwall. And I just can't imagine a world where Noel sang Wonderwall, or where Liam sang Don't Look Back in Anger. And I'm sure they both have sang the songs live, but, you know, on the record, it's hard to really imagine it. And here we are with Don't Look Back in Anger, the song that I already referenced being, like, it's basically a love letter to John Lennon. It's also just got this, like, insanely iconic chorus. It soars very, very high, in my opinion, and just melodically, part after the second chorus, too, where the guitar just, like, goes out, or the second verse, I mean, leading into the second chorus, the little, like, guitar riff right there is just incredible. It's just a song that's absolutely anthemic. You've got the percussion, you know, at the end, you know, before the final chorus, it's just this, like, denser kind of production. And, you know, definitely maybe felt like very much like a live album. Like, you just perform it live, and it's very straightforward. Whereas What's the Story definitely adds some more denser production elements here, and I love it. Like I said, this specific part, I do really like, Tony McCarroll on the first album, but I do, in a way, see where Noel was coming from, because I can't really imagine, the percussion sounding any different, or trying to imagine these songs with the old percussion is kind of weird, and I think that's where Noel was coming from. Now, should have he fired the guy? I don't know. That's, you know, that's a whole other issue. But, basically, all I can really say about it is it's just an absolutely incredible song. So it goes into Hey Now, which is another song that I just absolutely love. A lot of people will criticize Oasis for being repetitive, but I kind of see, there are times where that's a problem. On this album, I see it as let's keep singing the hook, because we're all singing along to it. It's that fucking good. And, you know, when the hook isn't good, that's where that falls apart. And I'll get to that in some of the later albums, for sure. But this is a song where, you know, the whole lyrical metaphor for dealing with fame and, you know, like, the hitchhiking thing, and then, this is a song where, like, you've got this percussive moment, like, feel no shame, it's, like, the percussion on it, and then, just that part is, like, and when he says time's no chain, it's almost like a resolution of Hello, where Hello is, like, the years are falling by like rain, and it's, like, this fear almost of the passage of time, whereas this is, like, coming to terms with it, and being like, hey, it doesn't matter, like, it doesn't matter, it's not gonna chain us, that kind of thing, and it's something that, like, is really powerful to me as someone who freaks out over the passage of time, because good God, where did the time go? But, I love that part of it. Then you get the first interlude, which these two interludes are just they are excerpts from the Swamp Song, which is this big song that they released. Is this big, heavy-hitting instrumental. It's just this big song. And there's just two short excerpts from it. You've just got the guitars and the harmonica. It's just going. And then it goes into Some Might Say, which I said has that super iconic riff. I already talked about that. And then it goes into the, like, second, more kind of acoustic song on the album, which is Cast No Shadow. Which is a song I definitely want to come back to. She's Electric came after that. I already mentioned that song. And then the album ends in a very specific way, which I will get to. So for Cast No Shadow, I think that song is one of my favorites. It speaks to me very, very personally, and it's a song that is absolutely gorgeous. It starts off with the acoustic strumming. One of the greatest things about the song is the harmonies between Liam and Noel. Noel does some incredible backing vocals here, and they harmonize really well. Especially like on the pre-chorus, it gives me chills every time. They're just absolutely incredible, the way they harmonize, and the lyrics are very simple, but when it gets down to it, it's just, it tackles kind of what fame can do to someone, and it's just so devastating. It's a song that I can literally only describe as devastating, and it's such a weird way to describe a song this simple. But it's got this, like, beautiful melancholy nature to it. Again, it's just absolutely incredible. And like I said, so She's Electric comes after that. And then we get the title track, which is Morning Glory. And this has one of my favorite title drops in any album. Obviously, the best title drop of all time is in Dark Side of the Moon, but, you know. This is one of my favorite title drops, where it drops not only the song title, but the album title. And it's just, like, insanely powerful. The way it drops is this really, you know, hard-ass kind of rock song. I mean, Noel said it was a cynical song about drugs. Angus goes into that, and it's like, yeah, it's like, you know, kind of goes into that, and the way Liam delivers, it's got that, like, cynicism, almost like sarcasm to it, which did define part of the, dare I say, Britpop era. I don't like to use that word, even less now, but it's something that I, you know, as a critic, I kind of have to, you know, push that aside, because also Oasis are not pop. I don't like them being grouped with pop groups, but it's something else that I kind of have to, you know, but that type of cynicism there, and just the whole, like, using the drugs and stuff, it's about cocaine. It's just this very, like, it's kind of cynical, this song, and the way he delivers is absolutely incredible. Liam's vocal performance on this, oh my god. The way he says the word well is just absolutely incredible, and, like, I can't get enough of his voice on this album. It's so good. He sounds amazing. He is, by far, one of, you know, this is one of his best performances, and the way this album ends is absolutely insane. So basically, it kind of ends with these, like, helicopter noises, and you get the implication, like, oh man, did they go too far? Did you have an accident because you were running around confident when you were high or some shit? And then it goes into the second excerpt of the Swamp Song, which this one is very, like, kind of muted, like, it feels like you're hearing it through a tunnel almost. And then that all kind of just washes away, and you start hearing the waves coming in, and then you start getting, like, the acoustic strumming, and it just goes into Champagne Supernova, which is the final song on the album. This might be my favorite song of all time. It is very close with Day in the Life by the Beatles. And I feel really bad for even comparing them, because one song is a lot more complex and detailed than the other, and that's obviously Day in the Life. And I could make a statement right now that Day in the Life is objectively the best song ever written, but, you know, people would get mad at me for saying that too. For me personally, I'm not saying it's the best song ever made or anything, but it is my favorite, and, going into Champagne Supernova, the way the song builds, I mean, Noel described it as an epic, and, you know, he said it means different things when you're in a different mood, and oh my god, it does, and it is just such an intense, effective song. Just, like, the little details in it. It's not complex by any means. I mean, simple chord structure, all that. It repeats the chorus, repeats the bridge part, but it doesn't waste a second, and it's just absolutely incredible, and it takes you through the whole range of emotions, And you've got the soft part of the chorus, and just Liam's vocals again are just insane. And then it goes into the like second verse, and it kind of goes into the like second chorus where you got the like more like kind of crescendo of it, and then we get to the bridge, and I'm getting chills just thinking about it. It's one of my favorite lyrics of all time, and basically where they say he says people believe we're gonna get away for the summer, and you know that's a reference to you know, when they were kids and couldn't afford vacations, which is something that is extremely relatable to me personally, but I digress. So, you know, and the line on it is kind of the thesis statement of the song, the thesis of the whole album to me, and just one of my favorite lines ever, and it's something that I just, where he says, but you and I will live and die, the world's still spinning around, we don't know why. And that, to me, is the moment. And the way, like, saying it out loud on paper, it sounds kind of dumb. But, like, when you listen to it, it feels like the weight of the world. Like, the entire song. Like, everything makes sense now, but it's, like, this existential crisis. Like, why the fuck are we here on this planet? It's just, like, it's insane. It's got all these emotions. It's like this existential crisis, but you know, at the end of the day, it comes back down and it's very calm. The way it ends is just very like calming, and it kind of washes away. And it's just an absolutely beautiful song that just really ends in a way which is just absolutely incredible. And at the end of the day, there's not really anything else I can say about that. I mean, to me, the album's perfect. When looking at it objectively, I scored it and I gave it a 96. I mean, like, I don't really know what I'm supposed to say about this that I haven't said already. Just, this album has, like, multiple 10 out of 10 songs on this album. This album has, like, 4 songs that I would consider 10 out of 10s, and 1 song I'd consider an 11 out of 10, which is Champagne Supernova, and it's just absolutely incredible. Like I said, with Champagne Supernova being my favorite song, obviously Cast No Shadow and Morning Glory, I also love those songs as well. I mean, I basically love every song on this album, and just the way it works, it just goes, is so fucking good. And I do want to do like a deep dive into how the album tackles fame, but just for now, just say, please listen to this album if you haven't listened to it already. I know I told you to at the beginning of the video, but I'm going to tell you to listen to it again, because it's that good. And if you're friends with me, also, please just listen to this album, because this album is, like, my life, and I just, I can't really recommend anything. It's definitely the best album of the 90s, and I can't really recommend it higher than any other album, personally. So, Oasis were at their high point here. This is their best album. I don't think I need to justify that claim. I will be reviewing the rest of the albums, and we'll see kind of how the fuck they attempted to follow this up, because following up an insanely legendary album is kind of hard. But yeah, this is actually insane, and I love this record to death, and it deserves all of the praise I could possibly give it. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching the video, and I'll see you all next time. Follow me on my Instagram if you want to see these in written form, and I'll see you all soon. Bye-bye! Guess